Hi guys, my name is Teresa. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm giving you a bunch of recommendations for books with red covers, specifically for Team Red on the Amazing Readathon. Hi guys, like I said, I'm Teresa, and I'm going to be just giving you a bunch of books with red covers as recommendations. I am a part of the red team. As you can see, I'm repping my red today. This is actually, this is Patch. He's my favorite Disney character of all time. So it's really the only red shirts I have. I don't normally do red. Red's not normally a color of mine. So I thought I'd kind of go outside of my comfort zone and pick a team that I normally wouldn't join, and that's Team Red. So the Amazing Readathon is great. It's hosted by Bree from 4 Paws and a Book. I will, of course, link her channel, the readathon announcements, all the things. Now, we are in the middle of the readathon. It did start August 1st. It is currently August 10th, but we've only gotten 4 of the 10 prompts so far, so we still have a bunch more to go. And I thought I would, get some recommendations up. The reason why this video hasn't been posted sooner is on the 5th, so 5 days ago, I had a tooth extracted, and it still hurts. So if I'm talking a little funny, a little slower than normal, it's because I'm in a lot of pain. I ended up getting dry socket, which apparently I'm just prone to it. I did everything correctly, but I got it with my wisdom teeth extracting. This extraction, I got it too. So I'm in a lot of pain. But I really wanted to get this video out to you guys because, like I said, the readathon is already happening. It's week 2. I just thought it would be fun to do a book recommendation, even if you're not reading for the readathon, but maybe you have a prompt in something to read a red book, or you just like red books. Here are some recommendations for you. So for the red team on the readathon, red includes anything within the red to pink spectrum of the colors. So you can read very, very red, you can read very, very pink, anything in between counts for red. Now, the thing with this is you have to have 51% of your team color on the book cover in order to count towards the extra points. And the thing is, the edition you read has to have the color. So you can't be like, oh, well, this book has a red cover, I'm just not reading that edition. You have to read the edition with the red cover or your team's cover. Again, it has to be at least 51% your team's color in order to count for the extra points. So I do have a lot of books here to show you that do have that, in my opinion. Another thing too is when no one's policing it, it's basically just kind of, the rule is if you would be mad that someone on a different team would use it, then don't use it, But if you think, yeah, it's good enough, if I was on, another team and someone did this, I'd be okay with it, there you go. So I do have some books, I do have a lot of books actually that are within the red pink spectrum, and then I have a few that are kind of questionable whether or not it has that 51%. It's kind of just up to interpretation. So first, let's go through some middle grades that I have to show you. Also, a lot of the books that I actually have that are red are in a series. They're not the first in the series, they're like multiple in the series. So sorry if you haven't read the series, but it is face-off weekend, so maybe you can read the first couple of books in the series and then get back to reading the red book. The example of that would be this one. This is Sabotage by Margaret Peterson Haddix. This is book 3 in the Missing series. This is a middle grade book, as mentioned, like sci-fi, time travel, about these kids who find out that they actually are from different time periods in time, and there's like time war or something going on. They have to go back to their original time period that they are from. And it's been pretty interesting so far, and as you guys can see, this is red. Now, I don't know how it'll translate, so you can kind of see it kind of matches. I don't know how it'll translate in camera, whether or not it's going to show up more red, more orange, more whatever, but to my physical eyes looking at them, they are red to me. Next up, I have The Nightmares. This is a middle grade horror, and this is about a couple kids who are having nightmares from a curse or something. Yeah, some kids are having some like waking nightmares as a curse. some kind of monsters coming after them. Again, middle grade horror, I think paranormal-ish, but as you guys can tell, this is very much a red book. So next we have The Mystery of the Jeweled Moth, and this is by Catherine Woodfine. This is book 2. I don't remember what the series name is, but I believe that these are books that you don't have to necessarily read in order. This is a middle grade mystery. I think it's kind of around the time of like Sherlock Holmes Regency era, from what I'm remembering from the first book. The first book is called The Mystery of the Clockwork Sparrow, and it's blue, so if you're on the blue team, there you go. But yeah, as you guys can see, there is more red than any other color on here, so this one would work. Next up, And They Found Dragons, book 3, which is Rise of the Lightbringer. Now these are this is the longest in the trilogy. Very, very quick read, so you guys can plow through these very quickly if you want to get to book 3. This is by Ted Decker and Rochelle Decker. This is a adorable series. I am loving this series. I haven't read this yet, but I cannot wait to get to it. This is a sci-fi story. There is this ark up in space that has the last remaining humans on it. The Earth has been destroyed due to nuclear war, and the humans escaped space, and when they try to come back, they find out that there are dragons on the Earth. And not only are there dragons, but their dragons breathe toxic air, and so basically they find out if you are over the age of puberty, the toxins will kill you. So they train these young children to basically go and kill the dragons so that humanity can come back to Earth and survive, because their supplies are very quickly running out. And like I said, this is book 3. So again, you'd want to read book 1 and 2, but they're very, very quick little reads. And I just love this series so much. So much. Highly recommend it. Again, another sequel. For whatever reason, the red books that I own seem to be like in series, but not the first in the series. So I'm so sorry about that, but maybe you guys have already read them, or you are a fast reader and you can catch up. That is the case with this one too. This is Simon Thorne and the Viper's Pit by Amy Carter. This is book 2 in the Simon Thorne series. Again, this is a middle grade, so it's a very quick read. The first book was about a boy who basically discovers that he can talk to animals, and not only can he talk to animals, he can shift into animals. I adored the first book. 5 stars, such a great story. There are these warring factions within they're called animal gams. G-A-M, animal gam. And there are these different kingdoms. You have mammals, reptiles, water kingdom, insects, birds, and they're all kind of warring, and there's one particular kingdom that is trying to gain power over the others, and Simon is kind of thrust into this world once he discovers who he really is, and the story kind of takes off from there. If you are interested in this one, I would definitely say obviously pick up book 1. Again, book 1 is blue, so if you're on blue team, there you go. But yes, this is one that I definitely plan on reading for this readathon. Okay, let's move on to some YA books that I have. Now, I do have quite a few here that are actually first in series, so there you go, guys. First off, we have Switched, and this is by Amanda Hocking. This is a fae story, or a changeling story. It's about a girl who, when she was 6 years old, her mother was convinced she was a monster and tried to kill her. 11 years later, when he discovers her mother might have been right. She's not the person she always believed herself to be, and her whole life will begin to unravel, all because of Finn Holmes. So YA, fae, fantasy, changelings, I'm guessing romance because it's YA, but again, a very red cover, and this is book 1 in a series, so you guys could totally start with this one. Then we have another red book that is a first in a series, or a duology at least, I'm not exactly sure. But that's Anatomy, a Love Story, and this is by Santa Schwartz. Now, this is specifically the Barnes and Noble edition. The original cover, the background is white, but the dress is red. I don't know if you would consider this to be 51% of the book or not, but if you do have this specific cover, it would 100% count for this prompt. It's gothic tale full of mystery and romance. It's about a young girl who wants to be a surgeon back again in like Regency era, but women are not allowed to do that. And then we also are following this boy who is a, what do they call them, body snatchers? No, resurrection man. Basically what their job is to dig up dead bodies and deliver them to these scientists, because at this point in time it was illegal to work on a dead body, but these doctors need to know how to work on people, and so you have resurrection men who are basically finding cadavers for the doctors, and then some of the resurrection men start to disappear. So it's very much a mystery and a love story, and I've heard like very gothic. So this one, like I said, this edition 1000% works. Now we have some more YA, but more on the mystery thriller side of things. And we have The Project by Courtney Summers. Again, this is specifically the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. So if you do have this cover, this one would work for you. If you don't have this cover, I think the other one is black background. I don't think that would quite work for this readathon, but if you have the Barnes & Noble exclusive, definitely. This is about a girl whose sister basically ends up in a cult, and she's trying to save her and trying to get her out. I have not read this yet, but I have heard really good things about this book. I'm excited to get to this one, hoping I can fit it in somewhere in this readathon. And the last YA one I have to share with you is Ace of Spades, and this is by, oh no, I'm not gonna be able to say their name, Ferda Abiki Amide. I'm so sorry, probably did not pronounce any of that correctly. I think this is like a dark academia with a game element involved, YA, but again, you can see majority of this cover is red, so it would count. Okay, moving on to adult books. I have London Calling. This is by Shara Sheridan, and I do believe this is part of a series, so I don't think you have to read them in order to understand what's going on. This is a Maribel Bavin mystery. I do not know what book number this is. This is about a former Secret Service employee after World War II who settles down in a quiet little town, but there is a disappearance that happens, and she just can't help but get herself involved and try to figure out the mystery. Mystery kind of in what, the 1940s era, I believe, is what this one would be in. Then we have a thriller that I read earlier this year and absolutely loved it, and that is Behind the Red Door. Everything about this book is red. This is about a woman who goes back home to her small town to help her father move. While she's there, she finds out that this woman disappeared. Now, the thing about this woman is she was kidnapped when she was a child, and then years later, she disappeared once again. So she like came back and then she disappeared once again, and people are thinking maybe it's the same guy. But Fern, who is the main character in this book, has a sinking suspicion that she knows this person and that she very well may have been kidnapped along with her. And it says, when Astrid, who is the missing woman, appears in Fern's reoccurring nightmare, one in which a girl reaches out to her pleading, Fern fears that it's not a dream at all, but a memory. And so she starts having these flashbacks and these memories of possibly seeing her, the missing woman, when she was a child, and so she's trying to figure out, you know, what happened in her past. She also has extreme anxiety. It has anxiety rep, but be careful because this book could possibly trigger you because it was giving me anxiety reading it. It was very, very good. Okay, and the last one of the adult books that I have to show you is The Collective, and this is by Allison Galen. This is another book that I read and absolutely adored, you guys. This is about a vigilante group of women, of mothers, who take justice and the law into their own hands when their abused and or murdered children are not, like, the abusers or the murderers are not held accountable for what they did. This very much is about like SA and that kind of thing. So if you have any triggers, definitely look it up in here. But I really love this book because it kind of goes into the thought process of, is vigilantism really what we should be doing? Should we let the law take care of it? Should we take it into our own hands? What is right, what is wrong? It's great. I love this and I highly recommend it if you are a fan of thrillers. My next stack is actually Christian fiction. So I believe these are all considered adult books, but they are specifically Christian. So first up, we have 8033 by Ted Dekker. Now this is a sequel. 8030 is book 1, but if you have read that or you want to read that one, then you could definitely get around to 8033. This is historical fiction set in the time 8033 of Jesus. The first book is about a woman who, she was like a princess or a queen. Her kingdom gets overthrown and she has to travel to Jerusalem, where I can't remember exactly why she's going to Jerusalem, but she ends up having an encounter with the Messiah. And this is the follow-up to that. The first book is amazing. I haven't read this one yet, but my gosh, really want to get to it soon. Next, after that, I have Trust Me, and this is by Kelly Irving. The tagline is, her best friend is murdered the same way her brother was years ago. Is there anyone she could possibly trust? So this is definitely a thriller. I believe this is technically a romantic suspense, but again, Christian fiction. So if you're specifically looking for Christian books, this one could work. Next, Demon by Tosca Lee. This, or Demon, a memoir. This is basically what it says. It's told as if a demon is telling you his story, his memoir of how he came to be, the fall, like what has happened to humanity, what his part and what the demon's part in humanity is. Very interesting. Kind of reminiscent of the Screw Tape letters, I would say, but yes. Read. It is kind of dark, so just know that going into it. Now, this next book, Sinner by Shannon Carter Rogers, kind of gives me the same vibes a little bit. This is about a reporter who's investigating the story of there's a conspiracy of Sinner. There's like this mark that's left behind after certain attacks, certain things that happen, that's apparently been an urban legend since the Civil War. And so this investigative crime writer kind of looks into it and she finds a diary. The diary seems to be written by someone very old and maybe not human, and very well could be connected to the Sinner case. So another kind of supernatural suspense book that seriously enjoyed. I think this would be a perfect pick for this readathon. And then we have Haunting at Bellevante Bonneview. I always want to say this weird. Bonneview Circus. I don't know why I always say that weird. By Jamie Jo Wright. And you can see that the background is quite red. So there is even the, it's more of a darker red, but I would say this is a red book. It's dual timeline 1922. You're dealing with a circus where there are evidence that a serial killer has been haunting the circus train. And then in the now timeline, you have a woman who is a realtor and she finds the old circus train and starts diving into the mystery of what happened in the unsolved murders. But apparently the two cases are connected. This also has a main character who has Lyme disease. So it has chronic illness wrapped in this, which is amazing. I have Lyme disease, so when I found that out, I was so excited. Cannot wait to get to this book. I have a few more books to show you guys. Now these books here in this pile are all books that I would say are questionable. Whether or not they have 51% is kind of up to interpretation, up to you, what you guys think, but I still wanted to share them because they do have a lot of red on the cover. So again, up to you what you think works. First off, I have Together We Burn. This is by Isabel Ibanez, and this is the Owl Crate edition. I cannot remember what the original cover looks like, if it has red or not, but this one specifically, if you look at it, yes, it does have orange because of the flames, but you also see the red throughout her dress, red here, her red fan, and there is red in the flames as well. So personally, I think it would work, but again, up to interpretation, up to you whether or not you think it would work or not. This is a Spanish, like Spain inspired story, kind of historical fiction inspired. It has a flamenco dancer and a dragon fighter. So there are dragons in this. And instead of being a bullfighter, like in real life Spain, the main character is a dragon fighter. To my understanding, there's a lot of talk on how do we keep culture and celebrate our history while also maybe not continuing practices that are harmful, like bullfighting. But again, in here, it's a fictionalized world, so it is dragon fighting. And again, like I said, you have a flamenco dancer, so the two kind of have to team up and, I don't know, do some stuff. I'm guessing love. I think this might be enemies to lovers. I'm not exactly sure, but gorgeous cover nonetheless, and this is definitely one I think could be a contender. Then I have a nonfiction to share with you all, and that is Little Heathens. This is Hard Times and High Spirits on Iowa Farm During the Great Depression. This is by Mildred Armstrong Kalish. It's like I think it's a memoir or a biography. I cannot quite remember. As you can see, there is red on this. So again, I don't know if you would say this is 50%, because yes, there's a lot of yellow here, but the middle is red. You got a red barn. Whether or not it is, again, up to interpretation, but this is an option if you like nonfiction. This could be an option for you. Now this one, The Whistlebrass Horrors by Jack Kelly and Blair Lee Mitchell, is more on the pink side of things. As you can see, very kind of pink in here. I would say this one would probably work. I think this one is more than 51% the pinky red color, but again, up to you. This one is a middle grade horror, and it's about a new kid that moves to this small little town. It's like Halloween time, and there's this creature that is haunting the town. People start disappearing, including the kid sister of the young boy who they just moved to town, and so he has to try and find the monster and overcome the monster to be able to save his sister and save the town. It was really good. I really liked this. I would definitely say this is for older. This might even be, I would say, closer to YA than middle grade, but it's a good spooky read. Then we have, again, a book in a series. This is book 2, and this is Jade War by Fonda Lee. Now, again, is this 51% red? I don't know. We do have a lot of red in the background, up to discretion, but this is book 2 in the Green Bone Saga. So if you have already read book 1, book 2 might work. It is quite a chunky thing though, so I don't know if you'd want to read it for the readathon, but it is an option. And the very last book that I have to show you, you guys, and that is The Young World by Chris Weitz. It's teenagers in a post-apocalyptic world, and someone finds a possible clue that could lead to a cure for the sickness that took out most of the world. These kids have to go on an adventure and try and find it. I know dystopia kind of had its run a while ago. I personally still really enjoy dystopian stories, so that is this one if you guys are interested. Okay guys, there you go. Those are all of the red books that I have to recommend to you for the readathon for Red Team. Let me know down below in comments if you are participating in the readathon, and if so, are you on the red team, the best team, the winning team, the team that will win in the end? Anyways, yeah, let me know if you are a part of this readathon, or if you're reading the books. Any of these books sound interesting, even if you're not a part of the readathon. If any of these sound like something you might be interested in reading, let me know down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, guys. It really helps my channel. Also, if you would consider subscribing if you haven't already, I would really appreciate it. I'm really trying to grow my channel this year. My goal is to reach 300 subscribers by the end of the year, and I'm about 230 something right now, so I still have a little bit to go. So consider subscribing if you haven't already. It would really mean a lot to me, and yeah, I guess that's it, guys. Those are all of the read recommendations that I have for you. I hope you guys are having a great August, and go Red Team in the Amazing Readathon. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye.